What's up, guys? Tim Little. Welcome back to Tactical Bassin. Today's video, we got an electronics video for you. Today we're covering mapping. I have some tips and some tricks to help you guys get the best out of your electronics. All right, guys, I get this question asked fairly often. You know, how do you dial in your electronics? How do you dial in this or that? Today we're going to be talking about mapping and the importance of having your electronics dialed, having your map system dialed, so when you are out on the water, you can maximize your fishing, find those best areas, those key areas, those, you know, long tapering points, or those areas where channel swings break off and you got the key areas, right? So today I have some awesome tips for you guys that will help you dial in your electronics if you have the LakeMaster VX card. You know, some of these tips might apply to some other cards, but today we're talking about the update of the LakeMaster system. You know, they came out with that LakeMaster Premium Card, and I've been blown away by it. Just the speed that you can zoom in and zoom out on, the adjustments you can make, the colors you can make, the shaded relief. So we're gonna kind of walk you through how to set this up. So if you guys have this setup, you will be able to dial this in just like my unit and be able to find those good areas fairly quickly. So if you don't have the VX card, I apologize in advance, but hopefully you guys do, and this will allow you to make some adjustments that haven't been available on previous LakeMaster cards. You know, you'll see right here, I got some aerial imagery on there. You'll see I have some depth shading. We're gonna walk you through how to set up all that, you know, because there's some really cool features, and this is a souped up card, and I've been really impressed with it. All right, let's zoom out of here. Let's zoom in to where we are at. See how fast that map loads? Go ahead and turn off this shaded relief and see how that looks. So what's cool about this new card, it allows you to do depth highlights. So if you're on a particular a bite, say you're on a crank bite and you're catching them 12 to 15 or 18 to 20, you can go in and select that depth range and highlight it whatever color you want. In fact, this new chip allows you to do 4 different depth highlights, including, so 5 total, including the red. You see this red on here? That is my shallow water depth highlight. I have that set to 5 feet. I'm gonna show you guys how to do that as well. But as much as Matt and I travel across the country and fish new bodies of water, safety is key, and it should be for you guys too. So you definitely want to set your depth highlight, your shallow water. I run it at 5 feet. Some guys will do 6 or 7 feet. Some guys will do 3 feet, but I run it at 5 feet just to make sure that I'm not gonna run aground and mess up or damage my boat, or, you know, injure myself. But, you know, these new electronics have come a long way, right? And the mapping has come a long way just as much. Being able to add aerial imagery, being able to drop the water level is another huge a deal for me, especially out here on the Tennessee River. This water is always fluctuating. So one of the first things I do when I get to the water, you know, you can pull up an app, you can pull up the TVA app if you're on the Tennessee River, but this tip will apply to everybody, no matter what body of water. The first thing I do when I launch the boat at the launch ramp, I compare the depth that my chart is showing, right? Let's zoom in here. Show it. It's showing that it's sitting in 26 feet. Well, you can see my depth on my readout actually shows 25.8. So what I do, I hit menu, I come over here to water level offset. Look, you can turn it off. Now watch what happens when we turn it on. Turn it on. It automatically adjusts all of your contour lines for the depth of the water the day that you are fishing. And that is huge, because what good does it do to have your shallow water highlight at 5 feet when they've dropped the water 6 feet or 5 feet, and now you're definitely gonna run aground. So the first thing I do, I check the depth of my unit, and then I compare it to the map, and then I adjust that water level offset accordingly. Are we down 9 feet, 10 feet? You know, are we up 2 feet? Are we flood stage? So that is my first tip, because that is a safety deal. So having that feature is awesome. And then, like I said, setting that, so today we're down, I think we're down 6 feet. Go through this process again for you guys. So that's showing, yeah, we're right there at 26 feet, 26.1. Okay, the next thing that I want to show you, that key feature, menu, chart options, depth highlights. So in previous generations or versions of this card, you could only do one other highlight besides your shallow water highlight. So you can see right here, I'm on fishing. You can do navigation, you can do user, you can change all sorts of settings. We're gonna go through that in just a second, but I'm on fishing. We got depth highlight. See what happens when we turn this off. A whole lot of blue, right? And it's blue. You know, you can see some ridge lines. You can see some points right over here. But when you actually turn on that depth highlight, now it really dials in your map. And so basically I have it almost dummy proof. So in my mind, I like to keep things simple. So how I have this set up, obviously you can see that red is everything shallower than 5 feet. So let's go into how I have my depth highlight, the different depths that we have set up. So you hit menu, come over here to chart options, depth highlights. We already talked about, we turn it on right here at the top. I have my shallow water highlight set to 5 foot. My first depth highlight, I turn it on, right? You can turn it on or off. Turn it on. I have that from 5 to 10. And the cool feature is you can pick whatever color you want on this color palette. I like to keep it simple, like I said. So in my mind, I'm going from red. So the next closest color is kind of like that orangish color. So that's gonna be my 5 to 10. Guess what? 6 to 12. Got that next color, yellow, okay? And then right down the line, 12 to 15. Maybe I wanna highlight, and then my fourth color, 15 to 20, okay? Maybe I wanna change that color to something that really stands out. Let's look at the map now. We changed that to like a, I don't know, a violet or a, I don't know, some kind of purple. See how that really shows up that depth? That comes in key when you're throwing an A-rig and you're catching them in 12 feet, or you're throwing a crankbait, or you are offshore and you're catching them at a certain depth, right? That maybe they're suspended. Now it shows everywhere in that entire area with that water level adjustment. It shows those key areas. So that is a really cool trick, and super excited about that, because now I can make it super easy, and I have all of my depths highlighted that I want to know. So when I look at that map, I can see how that point lays out, right? You can see that high spot, that orange area right here on top of that point, okay? We talked about water level offset. We talked about depth highlights. We talked about the safety factor, right? The safety factor of going to new bodies of water, or with that water fluctuating, being able to adjust your map system for that. I know, you know, fishing these new bodies of water, I mean, some of these places are like mazes, right? There's backwaters, there's channel swings, there's river bends, channels, canals. I mean, there's some sketchy stuff, especially out here on the Tennessee River. So you can see, you know, we take that water down, say we drop it down a couple more feet. Let's go a little bit more so I can show you kind of that deal. I mean, you can really see those creek channels. Okay, so that is a huge safety factor. Okay, so now that we've talked about that, to go ahead and set this back to down 6 foot. A couple other features that I want to show you guys with this new VX Premium Card. You have shaded relief. Okay, so basically, now where I'm at right now, I'm actually on Chickamauga. It's not too drastic of breaks, right? We have 16 foot to about 23-ish. Let's go out here to the river channel and see if we can find some really cool stuff. Basically, the shading really lets you interpret how those breaks break off. You know, adding that shaded relief really helps to see which way. Let's zoom in on this guy right here. It's so nice having the touchscreen. You can really see how that breaks off. And just so you guys are aware, contour lines, the closer they are, the steeper that break. See how these are spread out right here? That's a little flat area on this break, but you see up here, that's a sheer, almost a sheer break, especially up here on this channel over here. Let's go ahead and zoom out and go take a look at another lake that'll have some more let's see, north, let's go, some more contours for you. Maybe some more shaded relief that you can really see how that works. So this might not be for everybody. I really like it. I like being able to see that point right there. I see the high spot. You know, let's go ahead and turn that shaded relief off. Show you the difference. Still easily visible, but having that shaded relief really, really helps. Okay. The other feature that I wanted to show you guys is this guy right here. Aerial imagery. If you're a shallow water fisherman or a dock fisherman, I've wanted this for a long time. It's a satellite overlay. Over here pushing on the wrong button. A satellite overlay of the surrounding land. Okay, so let's go ahead and show this. Zoom in for you guys just a little bit. Layers, come up here, aerial imagery. So this really, really helps when you get in the back of cuts and you're fishing docks or you're fishing marinas, you're fishing stuff that's visible. Now you can see it with your eyes, you can see it on your map and really kind of triangulate how things lay out, and then paired up with that shaded relief really, really helps. So having that is another huge feature for me. That's new with this chip. Having that aerial imagery has been really nice. Some real quick things for you guys. I wish you guys, I don't have you plugged into this. Maybe I can see if I can get you over here, show you what's going on this side imaging and down imaging. Let's see. There's a lot of stuff going on these graphs over here. But today we're talking about mapping. So again, mapping for me, when I'm going to a new fishery, and I can turn all this stuff off. It's really easy. You hit menu, go into chart options, you can turn your depth highlights off. If you want something plain and simple, you just want your different color palettes. It's really, really simple, but I like to have all those different colors just so I can visualize in my mind what I'm fishing. But again, come over here to depth contours. You can change your color palettes. You can change just about anything. You could really spend an hour or two just messing around with your electronics and really dialing in your graph. But you can see over here we got that shaded relief in the red, peeling to orange with that different color palette. Let's go back. Don't want to mess things up. So again, depth contours, palette 1. I like light to dark, shallow to deep. So light to dark. Darker is going to be my deeper water. Again, it's just a visual thing for me. Some of you guys might flip it and go with a different color palette, but that is how I have mine set up. Again, let's go over there to deep water and see how that looks. Switching to 5. But you can see this giant bay, just a big old bay with not a lot of depth until you really get out here to the deeper water. You can really see the difference, and you can adjust the amount of blues, the amount of, show you how to do that real quick. Chart options, depth and contours. You pick your color palette, blue colors, you can go all the way up to 20, bring it all the way down to 4, I believe, yep, 4, and make it completely customizable. But again, mapping, guys, let's go back to that real quick. I set that basically right at like 15 or so. Depending on the type of fishery, how deep you're fishing. You know, highland reservoirs, sometimes you're fishing points that come out and drop to 80, 90 feet, right? So you can adjust all of your palettes and your blues to show that, to really, really highlight that. But guys, mapping this new VX chip, been extremely happy with it. How fast it loads, how fast it, you click on a waypoint, it loads everything, how fast you can zoom in, you know, pick an area, zoom in, and have that map loaded and be able to see what's going on. Guys, mapping, I know it's not the coolest topic, but it's definitely one that is really, really important, and it's one that I spend a ton of time on. You know, hopefully you guys have seen videos in the past where I've talked about how to go onto Google Earth, make waypoints, drop water levels down, waypoint rock piles, laydowns, that sort of stuff, and then import them into your units. But electronics, I spend a lot of time on and off the water really dialing in my units, because I want to, when I'm on the water, I want to catch fish. So I want to maximize my fishing potential. And I'm one of those guys that's always thinking about the next step. And if I don't have something dialed in, it's always gonna be bugging me in the back of my head. If something's not reading right, if my electronics aren't showing right, if I have a battery issue, or I'm just not catching fish, I'm always thinking about things, what I could be doing to change. And having my electronics dialed is just a must for me. So I'm sure there's guys out there like that can relate. I'm sure there's guys out there that don't even care. They have electronics, they know how to turn it on, but they don't know how to do any of this. It's up to you guys. But I wanted to give you guys this information to be able to show you these quick tips. You know, we talked about the depth highlight, we talked about the shallow water adjustments, we talked about the shaded relief, the aerial imagery, some really cool and neat features to really dial in today's electronics. So I'm excited for this stuff. Again, I've been using it now for a few months. It's been out for quite a while. I didn't get my hands on one till a few months ago, but been really, really excited about this new chip. You know, from what I've seen, my opinion is the mapping, you know, LakeMaster has some of the best maps out there, and it's been awesome to go to these new fisheries and roll up, you know, like look at this out here. We got roadbeds and foundations and all sorts of stuff that are on these new chips. So any little bit helps, any little bit of information helps. You know, sometimes it's information overload. Mapping is very important. It keeps you safe, especially when you're fishing new bodies of water, and hopefully these tips help you guys out. If you guys like this type of video, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you guys on the next video.